2, 1, and we're live. So welcome to Conversations With. This is a special episode where we're going to talk to the man behind hashtag stepupjsa, the step challenge for the James Smith Academy members throughout July and June. So welcome, Graham, and we've got some winners for July to announce. So this episode will be going out to you at 12:15 on Wednesday, the 29th of July.
Yep.
And we'll also be at the same
tomorrow then as well. Oops. Oh well.
Sorry, what was that?
I'm going out for lunch then tomorrow. Oops.
Oh, you're going out for lunch? A live lunch?
Yeah, I'm going to be live at the restaurant table by the looks of it, but never mind.
well, either people have picked up from the live, maybe caught up on the Facebook post, or you're going to be listening to this episode.
Yep.
So, first of all, before we kind of maybe jump into the announcements, I'm sure some people are eager. There'll be people wondering where they've come, if their teams won, if there's individuals have won. But maybe we can start with just by telling us a little bit behind the inspiration, or what got you moving with setting up a challenge, which for some people seemed to come out of nowhere, and looked like it was a mammoth task to actually A, get moving, and then B, keep running.
Yeah, it was something that came up. So basically in the JSA group, the admins generally run a monthly exercise thing, and it used to be exercises you could do at home. There was a calendar, you had an exercise a day, you add it to your routine if you wanted to. A lot of people in the group generally won't get involved with that sort of thing, so I was trying to think of something that would incorporate a lot more people that would be happy to do it, or happy to get involved with. And then hashtag Blue Lips Gate started happening. So if you know Simon, hashtag, or was it at the active insurance guy he is now, isn't it? So there was someone in the JSA app. Now, I've got no control over the app or anything like that, so I couldn't see it. But somebody kept on posting fake numbers when people like Sharon, myself, and Simon were going and doing 15, 20, 25, 30 miles and stuff like that. So Simon was getting a bit annoyed about it. And I think it was the 29th of May that I came up with the idea, let's do a step challenge. So I set up a Google form. I posted it live thinking that about 50 people would join it, give or take. Thinking about 50, that would be fine. 25 minutes later, I had 280 people on it, and I'm like, oh crap. Like, oh no, like, no, this isn't happening. I think it hit 340, and I'm like, I have to shut this off. Like, I don't know how the hell I'm going to do this. So there was no plan in place at all. I just put the Google form live for people to sign up to it if they wanted to do it. And then I closed it off. I had something like 350 something, and I'm like, okay, I can't do this on my own. So I spoke with Simon and Sharon, who were the main two people that kind of used the step thing at that point in the app, and said to them, look, do you want to be team leaders and help run a team? I'll run a team, and I'll split the teams up equally based on their ability as well. So I didn't just put people randomly in. I found out what their steps were before, what they were aiming to do, and managed to basically split their abilities and mix all the abilities up. So it didn't matter if you were doing 20,000 a day or if you were doing 3,500 a day. You were going to be in a team collectively. Your team target was going to be pretty similar to others. So I managed to split down all the info relatively quickly. I'll pat myself on the back for that because I still don't know how I've done it so well. And then by that point, we had 16 teams. It was a bit different for July. There was more people in July, but 16 teams, and then set off for 4 weeks. And that was it. It happened in 18 hours from idea to inception to start.
It did happen very quickly, and I think yeah, I for one was definitely like, wow, that's a big task. It must have taken building a spreadsheet, wondering how do I log it, how do I track it, formulas.
Yeah. I'm like, oh wait, I need to create a separate sheet for every team, but I need a master sheet that's got everything on it. Then I need a calculation sheet that kind of splits everything down. So like for 16 teams, my spreadsheet's got like 22 different pages on it. I think the formula total came to about 1,800 or something like that. I'm not too bad with Excel, so I can't complain too much. Thankfully, I used to use it a lot for my job that I used to do, so it wasn't too bad. But it's just a matter of getting the information down and then weeding out the people that try to cheat, which happens on a free thing, which baffles me. But yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting. The first one, it was a bit manic. There was teething problems the first couple of weeks, and the team leaders, the whole lot of them, probably put up with me mumping and moaning quite a bit in the first week. And it was actually Simon that simplified it for me by just sending out spreadsheets to everyone, say fill that in and send it back, instead of what I did the last time. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It was 18 hours to inception, and then it was gung-ho from there. Yeah.
So you were like, you were shocked by just how many people jumped on it, and then were you shocked by, I think, from being a challenger myself, I know what the impact it had on me straight away, but were you really surprised by just how quickly people got behind it and how much effort was going in?
Yeah, that is one thing that kind of really humbled me. Some of the messages that I got, and as well as their team leaders and stuff, there's a lot of people that managed to. Obviously, lockdown was in full effect as well, so it's kind of helped a lot of people that have been in lockdown and kind of stuck in the house, thinking what the hell can I do, sort of thing. It's got a lot of people up and moving. Romana Baig, for example, was only doing 3,000 a day, so 21k a week, and was pumping out 70k a week by the end of this challenge in July, sort of thing. And a lot of people have managed to ingrain it into their routines, and it's humbling. I didn't think it would have the effect that it did, and I never really realized kind of what was being created, sort of thing. I was just head down, get the figures done, sort of thing, and then let it play by that point. But yeah, it's helped a lot of people. It really has, and some of the weight loss that's happened as well has been phenomenal for the 2 months. So yeah,
it's weight loss. That's just from what you've noticed from people you follow, Facebook group, things like that you've been able to associate the names back and the impact.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I mean, I lost a stone in a bit. I know that other people who I won't name, somebody lost 2.5 over the 2 months. It's up to them when I mention it and stuff like that. But it's one of these things where if you manage to create something into a good habit and create it into your normal routine, it helps you overall. And yes, there are people in challenges that will go balls to the wall. I'm one of them. However,
competitive spirit.
I'll be honest, I go balls to the walls with it because I get it between my teeth and I'm like, I'm not losing. And that's the end of it. But for a lot of people, it was about consistency. And that's especially the first month. It was done about consistency. So it was getting 10% up on what you were before. And then trying to get 10% on that again. And then 10% on that again. And a lot of people achieved it that way. Whereas in July, that wasn't so much the emphasis this time round, and targets were done based on what they wanted their target to be, not what I made it. And the results are shown for themselves that a lot more people didn't manage to be sustainable with their increase than the month previous. So the figures show that if you do it sustainably into your routine, you're more likely to keep it on, sort of thing, rather than blast out and then drop off.
I think one of the teams that I noticed who probably implemented that strategy was Simon's Angels. He spoke to them about the consistency and what they needed to achieve that small increase. And I know that and I'm sure that other team leaders came out with their own strategies or just self encouragement and things. But I think that showed that you can, if you just go for that small increase, really make a difference.
Yeah, absolutely. There's other team. It depends on how your team makeup was, because every team is different, right? So, I mean, you had Simon's team that was aiming for the 10% increases, and then you had teams like Pimp My Stride, who I was going to give a shout out at the end to Laura Stewart and the teams for that lot. They came second in the June one, but their team were just a massive collective team, and their team spirit was phenomenal. Which spurred everybody else on to go and do more. You had other people in Kirsten's team that went out and walked marathons, which encouraged others to do stuff as well. So you kind of, as much as the challenge is individual to you, you're part of a team. And when you see other people doing stuff, it kind of encourages you or thinks, right, okay, I need to go out and do something. And it kind of gets that routine into your head.
So I think the team like makeup as well, because it was made up of where your steps were and things like that, that meant that people who might not have integrated with each other previously were now part of a team with a WhatsApp group or a Facebook page made, and it brought people together. And then you saw how the other teams were doing through the people that you normally do follow.
Yeah. I mean, one of the good things is that a lot of people that sent messages about it said that it was beneficial for them to be in a smaller group because they feel quite intimidated by the JSAM group, which if you're new or you're not comfortable posting in there, there's 22,000 people in it as of today. So there's a lot of people in it. So like, if you're not overly confident and stuff like that, it's given people more confidence to post stuff within their small group. And that's helped them post on Instagram and stuff like that. Beth Homans is one example who's now posting on Instagram all the time and going out for a walk and stuff like that, whereas before she wouldn't have. And it's given them confidence to be able to go and do that sort of thing, which it wasn't by any stretch of the imagination my intention for it, but thank God it happened. Yeah, it's been really good for a lot of people and their confidence, which is really good as well.
So not picking a winner or anything, but what was the favourite team name that you seen come up with? Was the one you liked?
Well, I'm a dirty twat at the best of times, so Paul Greenland gets it from me for Squirty Steppers. That's because that's my sense of humour. I'll laugh at anything pretty much. So some of the team names have been phenomenal. Let's get I'm going to pull up the July sheet really quick. Yeah, worst case scenario. I mean, Simon's names as well, because Simon's Angels and then the Dirty 2 Dozen. Your pace or mine sort of thing. I mean, Fee went Scottish with the no excuses sort of thing.
Yeah.
But Squirty Steppers wins it for me. Or Tight Butts and Sweaty Nuts.
Yeah.
It's just July. But yeah, Pimp My Stride, for example, that was from June. Yeah, there's been some cracking names in it. Cracking names. Game of Strolls and stuff like that. Just the way that some people have played on words has been really good. So, but that's something that teams have got together and decided names on it. So yeah. It's just been another gelling experience for people.
Absolutely, and brought people, like I said, brought people together that weren't there, but kept the community aspect of the JSA, but just brought more people together.
Yeah.
And I think some of the steps, like you said, walking marathons, and some of the daily steps. The thing I saw the first weeks were like some people were banging out like 60,000 steps in a day, or pretty close to that. Was there any one? Did you see any one day, like a record day or anything like that made you go bloody hell? Even you from your number, your steps.
I think it's probably between me, Mark, and Sharon. So I think Sharon did a 72k day. I did a 76k day, and then Mark last week decided just to go out and be the snake that he is and do 78k. Right at the end of the challenge, so it didn't even give me a bloody notice period, so I could go out and try and do it as well. So,
Quiet, the snake.
Linda Lodge, actually, she has been walking marathons daily. She's been hitting 280, 323k a week. So she's been doing a lot. But those sort of steps you need to build up to over time. It's not something that you can just go from 0 to 100 on. And some people have unfortunately found out the hard way with that. There's people that have gone from 5k to go to 30k a day and their feet can't take it. It is certainly something, if you are going to walk longer distances, you need to build yourself up to it. You can't just go and start piling out that because your feet won't like you.
Your feet, your hips, your every muscle group, but and like you're saying, it's not just building it up over a couple of months. That's for some of those people, it's been. I mean, I've followed Mark for probably about 18 months or so, and and he bashes out 40k day weekends, has done on a regular basis. But he was down. I remember, but even some days he was like 12k today. So it's built up. There's a strategy to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's longer walks, lots of shorter walks. But some of them, 76, 78k in a day is, well, that's more than some people do in a week. And those three definitely deserve a shout out from me. It's
yeah, I mean, like I couldn't do 70 odd k a day. I think my average for last week was 35k a day. Which is fine because I can go and do a walk very early in the morning and pump out 13 miles, and then I've done the majority of my steps for the day anyway. But it depends on your circumstance as well. There's some people that will try and emulate that when they don't need to. You just need to do it for what you need to do and not try and emulate others, sort of thing. That's probably something I'll bring up in the other podcasts about trying to emulate others. But on the most part, the majority of people have enjoyed it. On the most part, there's always going to be one or two that don't. Such as life. No one's ever going to be happy 100% of the time. So,
especially you put, how many people did you have in July?
474-ish.
So even at 1%, five people. And it it was supportive. It got competitive. I think you're saying don't try to emulate people, but be inspired by be inspired by the person who goes from 7.5 to 15k a day and doubles it. If you try to double your average and you're already on 20,000, going to 40,000 can be really hard. So
that's in a nutshell. And obviously you see the people posting the big massive numbers and the people that are posting smaller numbers, but the increase has actually been more in general. And they need a good shout out as well. Don't get me wrong, there's a lot of people that I could shout out as well. I've got a list of names down here as well, but I'll run through that towards the end. But a lot of people, I think 44 people dropped out in July. Yeah, started at 472 and finished at 428. So 44 dropped out, which is nearly 10% drop rate, which was a lot higher than what it was in June. June was only 3.6% or something. But the majority of people have been smacking it out of the park and getting those increases in. And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's just getting you out and about, really.
And I think, June to July was very different environment. With COVID and things like that, you would go from total lockdown to rest of a lockdown. People can get back out and see their friends. I guess, was there an increase in percentage to target in July versus June?
No, it was lower.
Did we still exceed the target?
Yeah, everyone still passed their target. Every team still hit the target, regardless. The percentage increase wasn't as much as June. And once the COVID stuff started to relax, especially in England, because Scotland was later and Wales was later, I'm not too sure how it worked in Northern Ireland, to be honest. But once it started to ease up in England, people started to either drop out because they were going back to work and they didn't want to be a part of it anymore, or various different parts. I think the average was like 119% for June, and the average for July was 113. So it's still the average above target. Do you know what I mean? And every team.
And I guess there was an increase in target as well, where people set it themselves.
That's kind of by the by sort of thing. That doesn't really matter too much because your percentage is done based on your target. I think probably one of the other things is the fact that I didn't set their targets. That's probably another thing. I think some people certainly set it too high, and that discouraged them after the first week. Which happens in the normal JSA challenges. You go and you put this figure in and you think this is what you're going to do, and then you hit the first week and then you haven't hit it, and then you drop out. So it's all about being achievable and stuff like that. But in the main respect, the majority of people did hit their targets, and every team still got over their target, regardless if people dropped out or not, which is always a positive thing.
Was there anybody who, so maybe thinking about June first of all, was there anybody who really inspired you that you saw and you thought, wow? And then maybe the same for July.
Sarah Gosling, right? So some of you may know, I can't think of her Instagram hashtag, but I am going to go and quickly search it because she deserves all the people in the world following her at the moment. Sarah Gosling. No, that's not it. Give me a sec. But yeah, Sarah Gosling. She is battling cancer at the moment, and she has done from June and July. So she's done both step challenges. Both times she's beat her target, regardless if I set it or she set it. She has been going through chemo, and as someone that has gone through that, it's kind of horrible. Her team in June sent her a massive hamper and stuff like that. And this is the small, like, little community aspects of your teams and stuff like that happened. So Alana Gannon and her team all chipped in together and sent off a hamper for her just while she was recovering from chemo. And honestly, it was just, it's inspiring to see someone that is battling terrible stuff and still absolutely smashing it out of the park. And I think she has inspired a lot of people. Yeah, so it's SEZ_85_my journey. Yeah, she's fighting breast cancer. That's what she's fighting. And I think she's just about the last one of her chemo cycle, I think, for this one. So, no, just plaudits to her for both months, to be fair. Just stick with it. There's others as well for July. I'm trying to think.
I mean, just while you're thinking there, I mean, that Sarah absolutely deserves, like you said, all the applause, and you know, that's a true testament to her and her character.
Yeah.
To go out there, you know, not drop out, stick with it, you know, keep going, because as you said, chemotherapy is, well, it's poison going into your body, and
yep.
You know, she deserves, yeah, like you said, all the plaudits and the best of luck, and you know, just true testament. But that's inspiring. really inspiring.
Yeah, I mean, she's fighting the cancer harder than she's doing the bloody steps that she's doing. Do you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
With all the luck in the world, I'm pretty sure she's going to be fine if all goes her way. But yeah, she's just been spectacular. There's other people as well. There's people that have lost loved ones and friends. So I've got a list of them as well. So Kate Wood, Lisa Keane, Carrie Ann Barnham, and Chloe Watts. They've all lost people close to them that they've either dropped out or they've kept on going with the challenge as well. Especially like Kate Wood and Lisa Keane that I know about. And Kirsten Felton as well. So she was going to see her granddad. I think he's in end of life care or towards that point. And she was going to drop out and her granddad said don't. So she was at her granddad's walking about his room, speaking to him, and clocked up 18,000 steps just walking about the granddad's room chatting to him about it because her granddad said don't quit. You know what I mean? It just puts a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people. It makes you realise that it's not belittling what's wrong in your life at that point, but it just goes to show that you can fight stuff, and you can kind of battle through difficult times and get out of the other side of it. So,
well, anybody who's just listening, I think I've just spotted my own face on there on the video, and found myself smiling in there. Very heartwarming, and my condolences to anybody who's gone through this difficult time, and keep fighting as you are fighting. I know that myself and Graham, before we started chatting, we're talking about how walking can be a good therapy for some people. Go granddad for telling her not to quit. That's not on my watch, he said.
My watch is still ticking, you're still walking, so they're just some of the people that have gone through some tough stuff. There's been a lot of people that have bedded in new habits and stuff like that I could list off in a ream of names. Gary Haddock and JLL, who were both in Kirsten's team for June, they both were walking marathons and stuff, and they only were doing 4 or 5K a day. And they didn't walk marathons every day. They did it once, but yeah, they went out and done that as a special thing. Rachel Shaw, I must think that she must be about 10 months pregnant by now, but evidently not. But she's done it in June and July, heavily pregnant. You've got folk like Natalie Perry, Rebecca Anderson, Naomi, Julie, Mariana, Romana, Lisa, Beth Carter. I could be here forever. I've got, honestly, you should see the ridiculous list of people that I have. There's been a lot of people that have inspired a lot of people and their team leaders as well, which I think is one of the main things, because most of the people's names down here have been given to me from their team leaders, apart from a couple that I've known about. So everybody makes an impression on someone. Just always remember that. But yeah, fair play to all of them for all they've done.
Well done to the team leaders as well, because that wasn't an easy task taking that on, and that we saw some true inspiration from them with setting their own targets high, and rallying the troops every morning, and keeping on top of it, chasing us when we forgot to send our steps in, and forgot that.
Them. I'm like, where's the steps? Done, hurry up.
So a true collective team effort from those step-in to those team leaders to yourself, and I think one that everybody's hopefully enjoyed being part of.
It's been a massive collective team effort. The team leaders have been astounding. If it wasn't for them, this wouldn't have happened at all. And we've had some laughs in our little team leader chat as well. So it's been good to get to know people that I haven't spoken to before. Do you know what I mean? So it's been really good. It's been good for a lot of people. So
yeah, and I know that not just the people that we've seen the steps from, but I guess people were dragging their kids along with them. Dogs have probably got sore paws. Yeah, your families have all been out together.
beforehand, you don't have a fat dog now, that's for sure.
So, the dog's lying down going, no more walks. It's, yeah, not today.
Yeah, not today, thanks. I'm done now.
So I guess you know that we're ready to maybe talk about something. You know, have you got some facts?
Yeah, I can start to run through some names and some facts for July at least. So I'll start off with like the highest stepper. So for the first 3 weeks, it was the same person. So that was who I think I mentioned earlier, Linda Lodge, walking the marathons and stuff like that. And week 4, Rebecca Anderson took it, who was in team 11. So the overall highest, well done to Linda. Phenomenal amount of steps. I think it was close to 1.2 million in 4 weeks, if not just over. Yeah, so that was pretty impressive by all stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, well done.
Most improved from where they were to where they ended at the end of the 4 weeks was Rebecca Anderson. So she started off at 105k, I think it was, and ended up doing a 309k week at the end.
309,000 steps in 7 days.
Yeah, she jumped on a train and walked about Glasgow like nobody else on the planet. It was all on her Insta. She just was wandering and walking and walking and walking through wind, rain, and everything else. So she was the one that was most improved over the 4 weeks in total.
Well done.
So if we're going to start going talking about teams that walked the furthest, so this isn't actually the top 3 of the overall thing, but teams that walked the furthest. So in third was Steptastics, which is Carol's team. They walked 5,009 miles, so close to the Proclaimers song, I would walk 5,000 miles. Well, it's 500, but yeah.
No, it's 500, but add a 0.
Bloody deserve it for the amount of stuff that they've done.
How many people were in the team, each team, roughly?
What was that?
How many people were in each team, roughly?
Between 23, it was between 24 and 26 to start with, but it did dwindle in some. And I think the winning team had 27, but
right.
They ended up 25 at the end, so it's all comparative.
And that's not their winning team, it was just the name, the winning team.
Yeah, that's just their name. So it was basically the team that I ended up in from June. Okay. So it was the team that I ran in June, and we called it the winning team, and ironically we won. But I wasn't a team leader this time round, so it's Ange who's running that team. So I was just putting steps in and saying, "Have fun, bye." I don't need to tell people what I'm doing now, bye. So yeah, so second place anyway, 5,102 miles was walking on sunshine, which is Hannah McDonough. I probably pronounced her surname wrong, but she's recently just had surgery on her gallbladder.
Yes.
You know, so her team has come second, walking 5,102 miles, and in first place, by what seems to be a country mile, was the winning team, which is Angela Leahy, and 6,114 miles by their team collectively. They are one of the teams that maintained the majority of their people until the last week, so that helped them as well. Yeah, that doesn't necessarily change their target per se, because they didn't win every week. So, but it did. Their mileage count for sure.
So that's, you know, in the top 3, you're talking about 250 odd thereabouts mileage each, and then 200 odd miles each for the other guys. So, which is
impressive. It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like if we look at the whole competition in comparison, so the step target for people, I've shortened this down, so it's 150 million is what the step target was for all the teams combined, and that's taking out the people that have dropped out on their way through.
Okay.
So they've all been taken out. So at the end of the day, the target was 150 million, or was 150.4 million, and they achieved 170 million. So an extra 20 million steps between 428 people.
That's a big number.
So you're talking an extra 46,728 steps per person above target for the month.
So everybody increased by 10,000 steps a week.
Pretty much.
On average.
Yeah.
So
that's the way to look at it for that point. So yeah, that was 113%, or 113.1% for target. So everyone made their target, that's for sure. Mileage wise, so the target miles was 75,235. So as really rough. I basically divided the steps by 2,000, so it's by no means accurate, but it's just the kind of given standard, really. And the achieved miles was 85,095, so it was an extra 10,000 miles walked in July over target. And that gave you 335 return trips to the International Space Station. If you ever felt like going up there, you could have walked up quite a fair number of times, because apparently it's not actually that high in the sky. It's only 248 miles or something like that. So yeah, or you can go and fly return to Bali 5 times from Glasgow. That's probably the last, to be honest. But
so well, it's you know, well done everybody. That's astounding amount of distance, and you know, to have almost 500 people or so in it, 420 odd, did you say?
At the end of it, yeah. I mean, it's a phenomenal amount of mileage and stuff like that. And sometimes I was looking at the figures going, why aren't they as good as June, sort of thing? And they're not bad either. It's just the way my brain works. I want it to be better each time that it happens. But I mean, the figures is mental. I mean, if you actually picture it in your mind, going from the UK to Bali, walking there and back 5 times in a month.
Yeah,
that's look at it. It's mental.
I'm walking to Bali. I'm coming back. Walking Bali, yeah. Coming back. Is you know, so, well, you wouldn't be able to spend any time enjoying the sunshine. That's for sure.
Yeah, it'd be an interesting route as well. So better shoes on and learn how to walk on water.
Yeah. Well, that's astounding. So, have you got some winners for us then?
Yeah, so I'll run off week 4 results first, because that's what we always do. We run off the week ones. So I'll just do a top 3. So third was Mark's team, Sassy Steppers. They were 121.56%. In second place was Sharon's team, Stepperama. That were 132.76%. And in first place was Angela's team, the winning team, at 160.40%. It was eye-watering, the steps that team was pumping out on that final week.
160% to your step target. That's
that's the average the person has gone over their target.
Yes,
only one person in that team didn't hit their target, put it that way. Everybody else was over it. So yeah, they went for it on week 4 because they didn't win week 3. So like, I'm not having this. They were a fair play to them, because I was watching them going, Christ, I better walk out and walk more. So fair play to them. Yeah, so yes, the July now sort of thing. Yeah, it's an interesting kind of sort of result, really. I'm just looking, it's all pretty tight, really, until the end, sort of thing, where it kind of just starts to creep up a bit. But yeah, so I'll do the top I'll go through everybody. It's probably fair to them all, really, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
your pace or mine ended on 102.47%. Twisted Blisters ended on 103.76%. The Stepatrons ended on 103.90%. Nay Excuses, which was Team 15, they ended on 107.29.
Go on.
That's the team you were in. Yeah, and then Claire's team, which was Walk This Way, they ended on 107.8. Goldie's team, Worst Case Scenario, they ended on 108.61. Game of Strolls, which was Lindsay's, 109.43. Then you had Underdogs, Stuart's team, that was 110.10%. Witness the Fitness, which was Ems, who came in as a team leader just for July. Their team ended middle of the table, so they were 110.69%. Team 12, which was Elena, what's that in miles? And that was 111.23%.
I think that's my favourite name, because it's because there's always that chat about kilometres and miles.
Oh, that's been a firm disagreement between me and Laura Stewart. Like, she's like, everything needs to be in miles, and I'm like, no. No. So, but yeah, for easiness sake, it's done in mileage for the results because it's so big. But yeah, there's been quite a bit of a discussion about whether it should be miles or kilometres. But yeah, we'll leave it at that. So then you've got walking 9 to 5, which was 111.37%. Then you've got Simon's The Dirty 2 Dozen, which was 112.92. Then you have Tight Butts and Sweaty Nuts. That name's someone else as well. 113.46, and that takes you to the top 6. So in 6th was Mark's team. So they were Sassy Steppers. They were 115.24. Walking on Sunshine, which was Hannah's team, they ended on 115.96. And 4th was my favourite team name, Squirty Steppers, at 116.57%. Your top 3, so well done to Carol Rothwell and their team. They came 3rd, Steptastics, at 119.65%. And in 2nd place is Stepperama, which is Sharon McDonald's team. They ended on 127.67%. And that means Angela Leahy and her team, the winning team, which is what their name is, ended on 135.94%. I think that final week kind of just gave them a massive push at the end. Yeah, 160% on the last week, so that helped them. They had a bigger target to hit with more people in it, so fair play to them because they all went out and hit it. So well done to them.
Well, yeah, well done, and I guess 2 months in a row, the winning team.
Yeah, as much as it's been different leaders in it though, but it's
no, much just mean positive mental attitude, setting it out from the word go. You know,
that was the first 3 days. I was like, right, I've done 30k. What have you lot done? Hurry up!
That's me if you can. That would have been a good name. Don't know why we didn't.
That would have been a good name. Actually, that's a fair point. It will probably run again. I don't know when. Probably in between JSA challenges is probably the easiest kind of time frame for it to happen.
I think it'd be really interesting to run a winter one.
Yeah, well, I mean, we're on what, week 5 for this challenge now, so yeah. You're going into August, so you're going to be looking at October.
An autumn one, and then it would be a good thing to keep going in between the challenges.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be a full month.
Yeah, I think it'd help people keep their head in the game, sort of thing, because there's always a dip after a challenge and then come back up, sort of thing. So yeah, I'll probably run again. I need a break from it as well, but yeah, I'll be back in some descript. It might not be me that runs it next time. It could be somebody else that runs it, but I'll be back at some point.
We'll have to get you a or somebody like a Just Giving page or something, and try and get somebody to set up some app or something that makes it all easier to run. But I think you know, from everybody I've spoken to, everybody's truly thankful to what you set up and ran, and the team leaders as well.
Oh yeah, without them it would have been nothing. All I did was pump figures into a spreadsheet. It's been them that's actually done the legwork for me to do it. So to every single one of them, thank you very much. Without you, it wouldn't have happened. So thank you.
Yeah, and well done to the winning team again, and we'll hopefully hear all about it again in the autumn. But,
yeah, October, November time, I imagine it'll be.
Have you got a junk email box for people to send their complaints to?
Yeah, I think the last one is "it's your problem, not mine" at hotmail.com or something like that.
No, I think you know, everybody should just congratulate everybody, the whole lot, and you know, if you weren't part of either of these two, watch this space, and but be inspired. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Keep going. If you've set your standards, keep yourself going, keep yourself motivated. And I think it just shows the power of steps. You know, obviously we've seen, if you've been part of the JSAM for a longer time or whatever, Darren pushes it. I know he's doing his own thing, but you know, that's remained. And you know, if you focus on the two basic things, your CFD and your steps, your weight loss journey should happen.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at like myself, for example, the majority of my weight loss during one of the challenges was done climbing mountains. There was basically no weight training whatsoever involved. Sharon McLeod has lost a significant amount of weight just by walking. Granted, she works out as well, don't get me wrong, but she's known for walking and stuff like that. So the power of steps is massively underestimated. Massively underestimated.
Yeah, and I think it's the learnings, the small learnings, like you said, the different strategies. You don't always have to end up for a long walk. If you can squeeze in a 20-minute lap of your park or walk around the block, if you can walk up and down during the adverts or the TV breaks, walk around your granddad's bed because he tells you to, any of those. But if you just add, you know, 10 here, 15 here, you know, and you can do a lot in 10 minutes. You know, you can add, you know, 800 to 1500 depending on your stride length in 10 minutes.
Well, yeah, I mean, one of the things that I done is that I get my Amazon parcels done to Amazon locker, so it doesn't come here. So I need to walk to the locker to pick it up.
Oh yeah, you don't. That's a good tactic.
Half a mile there, half a mile back. It's an extra mile in the bag for 15-20-minute walk.
Yeah, we all use Amazon.
Yeah, I mean, it's just different little things like that that make you change kind of your mental aspect of it. It's just like parking in the furthest away parking spot when you're going shopping in Tesco and you need to walk 6 miles to the entrance because the car park's that big. And it's stuff like that. It's just little things that you add into it, and then they all add up. They all add up.
Yeah, I've seen loads of, you know, even supermarkets. You think about that, walk up and down every aisle, but depends how disciplined you are with your CFD doing that.
Yeah, just never go shopping when you're hungry.
No,
always have something to eat before you go shopping and walk up and down every aisle. But if you wear a tracker on your wrist and you push a trolley, put that tracker in your pocket, or it won't record your steps.
These little things. So, well done again to everybody, and thanks for listening to the special edition. And yeah, thanks Graham for putting this out there. I will be sure to not spill the beans, so nobody will have heard this before 12:15 tomorrow. And yeah, good luck with everybody increasing your steps going into August.
Yeah.